The 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of the most fascinating and highly sought-after coins in modern U.S. coinage history. Even though at first glance it may look like just another ordinary penny you could find in your pocket or change jar, the truth is that this coin has some extraordinary characteristics that make it incredibly rare and valuable to collectors all over the world. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the full story of the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, its history, composition, striking errors, grading importance, collector demand, and why some examples have reached an astonishing current market value of up to $56,876. Let's start by going back to the year 1986. The Lincoln 1-cent coin was already a familiar design by that time. It had been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features the right-facing portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse until 1958 displayed two wheat ears, commonly known as the wheat penny. In 1959, the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, and that design continued through the 1980s. By 1986, the Lincoln Memorial reverse was the standard design, and the coins were being struck at three major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now here's where the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny stands out. Normally, the coins struck at the Denver Mint carry a small D mint mark, and those struck in San Francisco for proof coins carry an S mint mark. However, the coins struck in Philadelphia usually carry no mint mark at all. This is normal for Philadelphia coins before 2017. But in 1986 something special happened. A limited number of 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies were struck with an unusually high level of detail and exceptional die quality, while others were produced with striking errors, die cracks, double dies, and off-center features that have made certain specimens extremely desirable. Most 1986 pennies were made of a copper-plated zinc composition, 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This was because in 1982 the U.S. Mint had switched from the traditional solid bronze alloy, which was 95% copper, to a cheaper zinc core due to rising copper prices. The 1986 pennies therefore weigh about 2.5 grams instead of the 3.11 grams of earlier copper coins. However, there are rumors and rare verified examples of 1986 Lincoln pennies accidentally struck on leftover bronze planchets. These copper planchet errors are incredibly rare, and if authenticated, they can fetch thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars depending on their grade and condition. Collectors value the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny for multiple reasons. The first is its condition. A coin found in circulated condition, showing wear and tear, might only be worth a few cents above face value. However, an uncirculated or mint-state example, especially one graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can dramatically increase in value. High-grade examples, especially those with perfect luster, strong strikes, and minimal contact marks, can easily command hundreds or thousands of dollars. But what truly sends the price skyrocketing are the rare errors and varieties. There are known examples of the 1986 no-mint mark penny featuring double die obverse errors, where the date and lettering on the coin show visible doubling when viewed under magnification. Some also show die cracks along Lincoln's bust or the rim, or even the famous BIE error where a die break appears between the letters B and E in Liberty. These small imperfections are what coin collectors and numismatists hunt for, and they can transform a 1-cent coin into a small fortune. The grading of the coin also plays a major role in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 under the Sheldon grading system. A coin graded at MS-60 is considered uncirculated but may have noticeable marks, while an MS-65 or higher would have strong luster, sharp strike, and minimal flaws. The highest possible grade, MS-70, is considered a perfect coin with no imperfections even under magnification. For the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, examples that achieve grades of MS-68 or higher are exceptionally rare and can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. In fact, one of the reasons this coin reached such a high value, over $56,876, is due to its immaculate condition and rarity of the die state. The coin was preserved almost perfectly since the day it was struck, never entering circulation, and displaying mirror-like surfaces with full original red luster. These qualities are what collectors pay a premium for, and when such coins are presented at major auctions, bidding wars often break out between collectors determined to add the best example to their collections. Now, let's talk about how to identify if you have one of these valuable 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies. Start by carefully examining the coin's surface under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look closely at Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the date. If you notice any signs of doubling, die cracks, or unusual texture on the coin's fields, it could be a rare variety. Also, weigh the coin if possible. If it weighs around 3.11 grams instead of 2.5 grams, you might have a rare copper planchet error. These small details are what separate a regular penny from one worth thousands of dollars. Another key detail to look for is the coin's color and luster. Coins that have maintained their original red copper shine are more desirable than those that have toned brown or developed spots. Collectors categorize these colors as red, RD, red-brown, RB, and brown, BN. Red coins generally command the highest prices because they retain the appearance they had when first minted. Let's also explore the historical context of why coins like the 1986 no-mint mark penny have become so collectible. In the 1980s, coin collecting saw a resurgence in popularity, and many collectors began to focus on Lincoln cents because they were accessible and familiar. The transition from copper to zinc in 1982 created a new level of interest, as collectors sought both compositions and transitional errors. The Lincoln series itself is one of the most collected coin series in the world because of its long history, simple design, and the fact that millions of people grew up using these coins daily. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 4.8 billion Lincoln cents in 1986. But among those billions, only a tiny fraction have survived in pristine condition or feature the errors that make them valuable. That's what makes discovering one so exciting. It's like winning a small lottery for coin collectors. Every so often, one of these coins shows up in a roll of pennies, in a coin jar, or even in pocket change, reminding us that treasures still exist in everyday life. If you ever come across a 1986 penny that appears especially bright, flawless, or slightly unusual, it's worth having it evaluated by a professional grading service. Authentication and grading not only confirm the coin's authenticity but also protect its value. Certified coins often sell for much higher prices than raw, ungraded ones because buyers trust the professional assessment. Auction records show that over the years, select 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln cents have sold for eye-opening prices. In one case, a specimen graded MS-68 read by PCGS realized more than $56,876 due to its extraordinary condition, intense luster, and flawless strike. These top-tier coins are few and far between, but their existence continues to fuel the dreams of collectors and treasure hunters alike. There's also a fascinating psychological element to coin collecting. People are drawn to the idea that something as ordinary as a penny could be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. It speaks to the hidden value that might be lying in plain sight. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is a perfect example of this phenomenon, an everyday object transformed into a high-value collectible through a combination of rarity, condition, and history. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often aim to build complete date and mint mark sets from 1909 to the present day. Within such collections, special varieties and errors like the 1986 no-mint mark in superb condition become the crown jewels. They represent the pinnacle of what's possible in modern coin collecting, an example of how precision, luck, and timing intersect. For anyone new to coin collecting, the story of the 1986 penny serves as a lesson. Always check your coins carefully. Don't dismiss older pennies as worthless. Store them properly in a cool, dry environment to prevent corrosion. The 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin may seem like an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin at first glance, but for collectors and coin enthusiasts, it holds incredible historical and financial value. This specific penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, is now known to be worth as much as $59,854 depending on its condition, rarity, and unique minting errors that make it stand out from millions of other pennies in circulation. In this video, we are going to dive deep into the fascinating story of the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, its background, how to identify valuable errors, and why collectors are willing to pay such an extraordinary price for it today. Let's start by going back in time to 1988, a year that marked the final stretch of Ronald Reagan's presidency. The U.S. Mint was still producing billions of pennies each year to keep up with national circulation. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, was one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. However, by 1988, most people didn't realize that subtle minting variations could transform an ordinary coin into a highly sought-after collector's item worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 1988 no-mint mark penny, produced at the Philadelphia Mint, carries a distinct mystery. The absence of a mint mark does not automatically mean it's rare, but what makes some of these coins special are the specific die varieties and transitional errors found among them. One of the most significant varieties is known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 penny. This variety happened because the mint mistakenly used a reverse die meant for the 1989 Lincoln cent. The key difference lies in the design details on the back of the coin, specifically around the Lincoln Memorial. On the reverse of 1989 design, the designer's initials FG, representing Frank Gasparo, appear slightly closer to the building and have a thinner, more modern look. When this reverse design was accidentally used on a 1988 coin, it created what is now called the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. This is one of the most sought-after errors, and depending on the grade, it can fetch prices in the thousands, sometimes even tens of thousands, for pristine mint state examples. To the untrained eye, spotting this difference can be tricky, but with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, collectors can clearly see the differences in the FG initials and the spacing of design elements on the reverse. Most 1988 pennies were struck with the regular reverse, but those few that received the 1989 reverse die are considered extremely rare. For collectors, discovering one of these in pocket change is like striking gold. In circulated condition, the regular 1988 no-mint mark penny is worth just 1 cent, but if you have a rare die variety, or an example in an uncirculated mint state, the value increases dramatically. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can command impressive premiums. Some of the highest auction prices have exceeded $5,000 to $10,000 for top condition examples, and certain coins with unique errors, pristine surfaces, and full red luster have sold for upwards of $59,854. Another aspect that adds value to a 1988 penny is its condition. The color grading of a Lincoln cent plays a big role in its market value. Collectors classify coins as brown, BN, red-brown, RB, or full red, RD. A full red 1988 penny with sharp details, no scratches, and original mint luster will always be worth significantly more than a dull, worn example. Coins stored carefully in coin holders or proof sets are far more likely to retain their original shine, which makes them appealing to serious buyers. But condition alone isn't the whole story. Error coins from the 1988 series have gained a legendary status among collectors. Examples include double die obverse coins, where Lincoln's features appear doubled, off-center strikes, where the coin design is misaligned, and die cracks or cuds, which occur when parts of the die break and leave raised metal lines or blobs on the coin's surface. Each of these error types has its own level of rarity and appeal. For instance, a dramatic off-center 1988 penny that still shows the date can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how much of the design is visible. One of the reasons collectors are especially drawn to the 1988 no-mint mark penny is its transitional significance. It comes right before the redesign of the Lincoln cent reverse in 1989, which makes it a bridge between two design eras. Transitional errors, where a coin combines features from two different years or designs, are highly collectible because they tell a story of change within the U.S. Mint's production process. In the case of the 1988 reverse of 1989 penny, That story is captured in metal, a moment when two generations of dies overlapped by mistake. Now, if you want to check whether your 1988 penny might be valuable, the process is simple but requires close observation. Start by looking at the date and the absence of a mint mark. Then, flip the coin over and carefully examine the FG initials on the reverse. If the initials are close to the base of the Lincoln Memorial with a thinner style, you may have the rare reverse of 1989 variety. Using a magnifier with at least 10x power will help you spot these subtle differences. It's also a good idea to weigh your coin. A 1988 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams if it's made from copper-plated zinc. If you find one that weighs around 3.1 grams, it may have been struck on an older copper planchet, which would be another incredibly rare and valuable error. Once you suspect you have a rare variety, avoid cleaning or polishing the coin. Cleaning can dramatically reduce its value, even if it looks shinier. Instead, store it in a protective holder and send it to a professional grading service for authentication. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC not only verify the authenticity of your coin but also assign it a numerical grade from 1 to 70 based on its condition. A higher grade means higher value. Over the years, the 1988 no-mint mark penny has become a popular subject in numismatic circles. Many collectors are still searching for the elusive reverse of 1989 variety, and each discovery adds to the excitement and mystery surrounding this coin. Auction houses have recorded numerous sales of 1,988 varieties fetching thousands of dollars, and as demand grows, so does the value. In pristine condition, these coins have sold for staggering prices approaching $59,854, making them a dream find for any collector or coin enthusiast. It's fascinating to think about how such a small, common object like a penny can hold so much value and history. The Lincoln cent has always been more than just a coin. It's a symbol of American heritage, featuring one of the most respected presidents in U.S. history. Every year of its mintage carries stories of economic changes, minting innovations, and human error, all of which create a treasure trove for collectors. The 1988 no-mint mark penny, with its rare varieties and exceptional market value, perfectly illustrates how a simple cent can turn into a fortune if you know what to look for. Beyond its rarity, the appeal of collecting Lincoln cents lies in the thrill of discovery. Anyone can start searching through their pocket change, old coin jars, or inherited collections and potentially find a valuable coin hiding in plain sight. Stories of lucky finds are common in the coin collecting world. People who unknowingly had rare varieties sitting in their drawers for decades, only to find out later that they were worth thousands of dollars. Imagine finding a 1988 reverse of 1989 penny in near-perfect condition and realizing it's worth over $59,000. That's the kind of story that makes numismatics exciting and rewarding. The current market for rare Lincoln cents continues to rise. Coin collectors and investors see these coins not only as historical artifacts but also as tangible assets with long-term value. As the number of high-grade coins decreases over time due to wear and circulation, the demand for preserved examples continues to grow. Auction prices have shown consistent appreciation, especially for coins with certified grades above MS66. With the popularity of online auctions and coin shows, more people are entering the hobby, fueling further interest and competition for rare varieties like the 1988 no-mint mark penny. It's also worth mentioning that while the Philadelphia Mint did not include a mint mark on its coins in 1988, the lack of a mint mark alone doesn't make a coin rare. The true rarity lies in the specific varieties and condition of the coin. Many beginners mistake a regular 1988 penny for a valuable one simply because it doesn't have a mint mark. But without the reverse of 1989 design or other distinctive errors, it remains a common coin worth face value. That's why education and careful examination are essential in coin collecting. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin might look like an ordinary coin you see every day in your pocket change. But what if I told you that this small copper coin could actually be worth far more than just 1 cent? That's right. There are certain 1989 Lincoln pennies that collectors are searching for, and their values can surprise even experienced numismatists. In this video, We are going to take a deep dive into the fascinating history, design, production, and value of the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny coin that has a current market value of $63. We will explore what makes this coin unique, why collectors are willing to pay high prices for certain varieties, and how you can check your own coins to see if you might have a valuable treasure hiding in plain sight. Let's begin with the background. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has a long and proud history. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and since then, it has been one of the most iconic and widely circulated coins in American history. Over the years, the penny design has seen a few changes, but the image of Lincoln on the obverse has remained. Now, let's talk about the year 1989. By this time, the Lincoln penny had already undergone a major material change. In 1982, the composition of the penny switched from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc core. This was done because copper prices had become too expensive, making it impractical for the U.S. Mint to continue producing fully copper coins. Therefore, the 1989 penny is composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, which gives it that familiar reddish-brown shine but with a lighter weight compared to the older copper pennies. The 1989 no-mint mark penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The reason it has no mint mark is because the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not include a mint mark on its coins during that era. So, if you look at your penny and don't see a mint mark under the date, that simply means it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, you might be wondering, if millions of these coins were made, how can one of them be worth $53, $63 or even more? The answer lies in condition, errors, and rarity. Even though billions of Lincoln cents were produced in 1989, not all of them are equal in value. The vast majority are worth just 1 cent, but those in pristine, uncirculated condition or those with rare minting errors can be worth far more. Coin collectors, known as numismatists, place great emphasis on the condition of a coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 using the Sheldon grading system. A grade of 70 means a coin is in perfect condition with no flaws visible even under magnification. A 1989 Lincoln penny in circulated condition might be worth only its face value, but one in mint state condition, such as MS-65 or higher, can fetch several dollars. And if it's a flawless MS-67 or MS-68, it can easily reach values of $50 or more, depending on the buyer and market demand. But beyond condition, what really makes certain 1989 pennies stand out are mint errors. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during the coin production process, and these mistakes can make a coin highly desirable to collectors. For example, a double die obverse error can happen when the die strikes the coin twice, causing the design elements to appear doubled. If you examine the date or the lettering on your 1989 penny and see a shadow-like doubling effect, you might have a double die error coin. Depending on how prominent the doubling is, the coin's value could jump significantly. Another interesting type of error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value can be. Some off-center Lincoln pennies with more than 50% of the design missing can sell for hundreds of dollars. Then, there are broad strike errors, where the collar that normally shapes the coin's rim is missing or malfunctioning, resulting in a penny that's larger than normal. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a piece of the metal blank is missing, giving the coin a distinctive curved edge. Each of these unique errors can turn a common penny into a collector's prize. When it comes to 1989 pennies, another thing to look for is coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. Occasionally, a penny might be struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin planchet by mistake. These are extremely rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's look at some real examples of 1989 Lincoln pennies that have sold for impressive prices. A 1989 no-mint mark penny graded MS-68 read by a professional grading company sold for over $50 at auction. Another example with a strong double die error sold for more than $100. These coins may not be worth millions, but considering their face value is only 1 cent, these are remarkable returns for small pieces of copper-plated zinc. Collectors also look for full red color on Lincoln cents. Pennies naturally change color over time due to oxidation, and they may turn brown or reddish-brown. A coin with full original red luster is much more desirable and valuable than one that has darkened. So if your 1989 penny still has its original bright red shine and is free from scratches or wear, it's worth taking a closer look. Now, how can you tell if your 1989 penny might be valuable? First, you need good lighting and a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Examine the coin carefully for any signs of doubling, unusual markings, or off-center strikes. Check the edges for any signs of clipping or broad striking. Look at the color of the coin. The redder and shinier it is, the better. If you think your coin might be special, you can send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for official certification. This step can help confirm your coin's authenticity and increase its value if you decide to sell it. When storing your coins, make sure to handle them properly. Always hold the coin by its edges to avoid getting fingerprints or oils on its surface. Store your coins in a cool, dry place, ideally in coin holders or flips made from materials safe for long-term storage. Proper care can preserve your coin's condition and keep it valuable for years to come. It's also important to understand that the coin market fluctuates. The value of a 1989 penny, like any collectible, depends on demand. As collectors seek out high-grade examples and rare errors, prices can rise. Right now, the market value of an ordinary 1989 no-mint mark penny in uncirculated condition is around $63 but that could change as new discoveries are made and as the coin becomes scarcer in the future. Sometimes, people overlook these coins because they assume modern pennies are worthless, but that's not true. Even coins minted in the late 20th century can hold significant value when they are preserved in exceptional condition or display rare minting mistakes. There's also historical value to consider. The 1989 penny represents a period in American coinage when modern minting technology was improving, yet occasional human or mechanical errors still created collectible varieties. It's a coin that bridges the gap between the old copper pennies and today's more advanced minting techniques. Let's also think about the sentimental and educational aspect of collecting coins like the 1989 penny. Each coin tells a story of the time it was made, the economic circumstances, the artistry, and the people who used it. Collectors often find great joy not just in the value of the coins but in the thrill of discovery and the connection to history. So if you're sorting through your change jar, or perhaps looking through an old coin collection from a relative, don't dismiss those 1980s pennies. Take the time to inspect them closely. You never know when you might come across a hidden treasure worth more than you imagined. The beauty of coin collecting is that anyone can participate. You don't need to be an expert to get started. All it takes is curiosity and attention to detail. Once you begin learning about mint marks, errors, and grading, you'll start to see everyday coins in a whole new light. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny may not be the rarest coin ever made, but it's a perfect example of how even a modern coin can hold unexpected value. With a current market price of $63 for high-quality examples, it proves that small discoveries can lead to big rewards. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe the next time you look through your spare change, you'll find a valuable piece of American history sitting right in your hand. Coins like the 1989 penny remind us that hidden treasures can still be found in everyday life. The 1991 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins from the modern era of American coinage. At first glance, it might seem like an ordinary penny, just like the millions of others you find in your pocket change every day. However, what many people don't realize is that some rare varieties of this particular penny have become incredibly valuable in today's collector market, with one example reaching a current market value of an astonishing $83,824. That's right, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, could now make you thousands of dollars richer if you happen to have the right one sitting in your collection or coin jar. Let's dive deep into the fascinating history, design details, errors, varieties, and collector demand that make the 1991 Lincoln penny so sought after and potentially so valuable. This story begins with the long-running Lincoln Cent series, one of the most iconic and beloved coins in U.S. history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became a symbol of American heritage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty to his left and the date to his right. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God We Trust," and on coins struck at the Denver Mint, you'll find a small D mint mark just below the date. By 1991, the Lincoln cent had already been through several composition changes. From 1909 until 1982, most Lincoln cents were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, or tin. But starting in mid-1982, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint changed the composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet. The new cents were made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, with a thin outer copper layer giving the coin its familiar reddish color. This change drastically reduced production costs, but it also led to a range of new minting challenges and occasional striking errors that have fascinated collectors ever since. The 1991 penny was produced at the Denver Mint in large quantities. More than 4.2 billion coins were struck that year. However, as with any large-scale minting process, mistakes do happen. Certain rare varieties and errors from the Denver Mint are what makes some of these coins worth a fortune today. Among the most valuable are coins that display striking errors, die cracks, off-center strikes, or double die varieties. These are the coins that collectors will pay serious money to own, especially when they are in pristine condition and professionally graded by a trusted third-party service like PCGS or NGC. One of the most sought-after versions of the 1991 penny is the double die obverse, where the doubling can be clearly seen on the inscriptions such as Liberty, the date, or In God We Trust. This type of error occurs when the coin die shifts slightly during the minting process, causing a faint but noticeable duplication of design elements. Depending on how dramatic the doubling is and how well preserved the coin remains, such a variety can command prices ranging from a few $100s for circulated examples to tens of thousands of dollars for high-grade, uncirculated pieces. The most pristine examples, with perfect strike details, rich luster, and little to no wear, can reach astronomical prices at auction, up to that incredible value of $83,824. Another factor that adds to the rarity and value of the 1991 penny is the condition of the coin. Collectors refer to this as the grade. A coin in circulated condition, showing signs of wear and handling, will typically only be worth face value. But when a coin is preserved in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost exactly as it did the day it left the mint, the value can skyrocket. Grading companies use a numeric scale from 1 to 70. With MS 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. For a 1991 penny to achieve such a grade is extremely rare, and that rarity is what drives its price so high in today's numismatic market. There are also known examples of 1991 pennies struck on experimental planchets or transitional metal compositions. Occasionally, a few blanks intended for foreign coins or older-style cents accidentally made their way into the presses at the Denver Mint. For example, a 1991 penny struck on a copper planchet instead of the standard zinc one could weigh slightly more and have a richer tone. Such coins are highly prized by error collectors and can easily command thousands of dollars at auction. In fact, when authenticated, these mint errors often become the centerpiece of a collector's portfolio. Let's take a moment to consider how a simple design can stay relevant for over a century. The Lincoln cent has remained essentially unchanged since its introduction, aside from the reverse design which transitioned from the wheat ears, 1909 to 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial, 1959 to 2008, and later to the Union Shield reverse starting in 2010. In 1991, the reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely at the reverse under magnification, you can even see the tiny figure of Abraham Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, a beautiful hidden detail that many people overlook. This fine design detail shows the craftsmanship and artistry involved in the coin's creation. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1991 D Lincoln penny might be valuable. First, check the overall condition. If it looks shiny, has strong details, and no visible scratches or discoloration, it's a good start. Next, examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass to spot any doubling or unusual marks. Look closely at the lettering, date, and mint mark. Sometimes, the D mint mark itself can show signs of repunching, where the mint mark was struck twice at slightly different angles. These repunched mint mark varieties can also bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. If you have a coin that seems to have unusual coloration, a thicker or thinner rim, or appears slightly off-center, you might have a mint-era coin. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank is not properly aligned with the die during minting, resulting in part of the design being cut off. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing a visible date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some 1991 D off-center pennies have sold for several $1,000s. Collectors and investors alike are always searching for coins that combine rarity, condition, and historical appeal, and the 1991 D penny checks all three boxes when the right attributes are present. Auction houses have reported bidding wars over high-grade or rare specimens of this coin, with record-setting prices like the $83,824 valuation achieved for a top-graded, doubled die example. To protect the value of such a coin, proper storage and handling are essential. If you suspect that your coin could be valuable, avoid cleaning or polishing it, as this can permanently reduce its value. Instead, store it in a protective coin holder or capsule to prevent scratches and environmental damage. When ready, submit it to a grading service for authentication and certification. Having that official grading label not only protects the coin but also increases its market value significantly. It's also fascinating to think about how coins like the 1991 D penny end up in circulation and then reemerge decades later as treasures. Many people simply overlook these small details, tossing change into jars or drawers. But for those with an eye for detail, the hobby of coin collecting can turn into a profitable venture. Every coin tells a story, and every minting year carries potential surprises. The U.S. Mint's massive production numbers don't eliminate the possibility of rare and valuable errors slipping through the cracks, which keeps the hunt alive for collectors everywhere. The growing interest in coin collecting over the past few years has also contributed to rising prices for rare varieties. Online marketplaces, coin shows, and auctions make it easier than ever for collectors to find and sell rare coins. As more people learn about the hidden treasures in their pocket change, coins like the 1991 D Lincoln penny continue to rise in both fame and value. Experts predict that high-grade or rare era specimens of this penny will only appreciate further over time, making them not only fascinating collectibles but also smart investments. Imagine finding one of these coins in your own possession, a small, shiny copper-colored penny that could pay for a car, a down payment on a house, or even your child's college tuition. That's the magic of numismatics, the ability to discover hidden wealth in the most unexpected places. The 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of those rare and fascinating pieces of American numismatic history that continues to surprise collectors all over the world. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary penny you might find in your pocket change, but what makes it truly extraordinary is its rarity, the errors connected to it, and the growing market value that has now reached an incredible $73,647 for the finest examples ever discovered. In this video, we will take a deep dive into everything you need to know about this coin, its background, how to identify the valuable varieties, the reasons behind its high value, and how you can check your own pocket change to see if you might be holding one of these valuable coins worth tens of thousands of dollars. Let's begin with the history behind the 1995 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has been in circulation since 1909, originally created to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin's obverse side, or front, features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has become one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. On the reverse side of the 1995 penny, you will find the Lincoln Memorial, which was designed by Frank Gasparo and first appeared on the coin in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Every year since its introduction, the Lincoln penny has been struck in massive numbers, but among these billions of coins, certain years have produced extremely rare and valuable examples due to minting errors, die varieties, or unusual features, and 1995 is one of those standout years. The 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. When a penny is made in Philadelphia, it typically does not have a mint mark under the date. This is normal and not considered an error by itself. But what makes some 1995 pennies incredibly valuable is a major variety known as the 1995 double die obverse. This famous double die penny is one of the most well-known modern-era coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. A double die happens when the design on the die is impressed twice at slightly different angles during its creation. As a result, when coins are struck using that die, the doubling appears on the coin's design. On the 1995 penny, this doubling can be clearly seen on the obverse side in the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust. If you look closely at the word Liberty on a genuine 1995 double die penny, you will notice strong, clear doubling of the letters. The same effect is visible In God We Trust, above Lincoln's head. This is not a minor or subtle variety. On genuine examples, the doubling is so bold that even a beginner can see it with the naked eye or a basic magnifying glass. This kind of major doubling error only appears on a small percentage of all the pennies minted that year, making it a true collector's treasure. The U.S. Mint struck more than 6.4 billion Lincoln cents in 1995 at the Philadelphia facility. Out of these billions of coins, only a limited number were struck from the double die obverse dies before the error was detected. Once the Mint realized the issue, those dies were retired and replaced. However, by that time, many error coins had already entered circulation, and lucky collectors and everyday people began finding them in pocket change, coin rolls, and bank bags. The discovery of the 1995 double die penny caused a major buzz in the numismatic community. It was the most famous double die penny since the 1955 version, which is another legendary collectible coin. Because of this, the 1995 double die quickly gained fame and attention in coin magazines, collector newsletters, and television programs. For years, coin collectors hunted for these coins, often searching through hundreds or even thousands of rolls of pennies hoping to find just one example. Now, let's talk about the coin's composition. The 1995 Lincoln penny is made primarily of zinc, with a thin copper plating. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from solid copper pennies to zinc-based ones, mainly to reduce production costs. The coin weighs about 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. While these modern zinc pennies are not as durable as the older copper coins, they are still collectible when they feature rare varieties like the 1995 double die. When it comes to value, most 1995 no-mint mark pennies in regular circulated condition are worth only their face value of 1 cent. However, if you find the 1995 double die obverse variety in high mint state condition, the value increases dramatically. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 65 or higher are the ones that can sell for thousands of dollars. In fact, the most pristine and sharply struck examples, showing perfect luster and minimal marks, have sold for astonishing amounts. The current market value for the top-graded examples of the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has reached $73,647. Collectors prize this coin because of its historical significance as one of the last major double die varieties of the 20th century. Unlike earlier double dies that were harder to identify without magnification, this one is so bold that it represents a clear minting error visible to anyone. This makes it appealing to both experienced numismatists and casual coin enthusiasts alike. So how can you tell if your 1995 penny is the valuable one? First, look closely at the obverse side of the coin, focusing on the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust. You should see clear, doubled lines on the letters that are not caused by wear or damage. If you see any sign of doubling, compare your coin to images of verified 1995 double-die pennies available online from trusted sources like PCGS, NGC, or the U.S. Mint Error Archives. You can also use a 10x magnifying glass or coin loop to confirm the details. If you think you've found a genuine example, it's worth getting your coin authenticated by a professional grading service. PCGS, NGC, or Anax can confirm whether your coin is a true double-die variety and assign it a grade based on its condition. This grading process not only verifies authenticity but also helps determine the exact market value of your coin. Coins certified as mint state 65, 66, or 67 are the ones that can reach those high prices in auctions and private sales. Interestingly, there are also other minor double-die varieties from 1995 that exist, but they are not nearly as dramatic or valuable as the main one. Only the major double-die obverse penny commands those top dollar prices. Because of its visibility and fame, this coin has become one of the most popular collectible modern pennies, often recommended for new collectors looking to start a high-value variety collection. The story of this coin also serves as a reminder of how valuable small minting mistakes can become over time. A coin that cost the government just a fraction of a cent to produce can be worth tens of thousands today, simply because of a unique error that slipped through quality control. This is one of the things that makes coin collecting so exciting. Hidden treasures like the 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny are still out there waiting to be discovered. Many collectors report finding these coins in circulation even decades after their release. Imagine finding a $70,000 penny in your change from the grocery store or while going through an old jar of coins at home. It sounds unbelievable, but it has happened. That's why it's always worth checking your pennies carefully, especially from the mid-1990s. Auction records for this coin show a steady rise in value over the years. In the early 2000s, examples in mint state condition might have sold for a few $100s. By the 2010s, prices rose into the thousands as collectors competed to own high-grade examples. Now, top specimens have achieved auction results exceeding $73,000, especially those graded MS68 red by PCGS or NGC. The brilliant red color and flawless surfaces are what make these coins stand out to serious investors. Experts also note that the popularity of Lincoln cent collecting contributes to the value of these coins. The Lincoln Penny series is one of the most widely collected coin series in the United States, second only to perhaps the Morgan silver dollar. Because so many people collect these coins by date and variety, demand for rare pieces like the 1995 double-die penny remains strong. As a result, prices continue to appreciate over time. If you are building a Lincoln cent collection, or just enjoy the thrill of searching for valuable coins, the 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is definitely a coin to watch for. You don't need to spend a lot of money to get started. All it takes is a little patience and a careful eye. You can search through coin rolls from the bank, check your pocket change, or look through old coin jars in your house. You might be amazed at what you find.